The invitation arrived 3 weeks after my craniotomy. Heavy cardstock, gold embossing, elegant script announcing the annual Memorial Hospital Foundation Gala. Black tie. Open bar. Awards ceremony honoring outstanding physicians. My mother was receiving the Physician Leadership Award. "You're coming, obviously," she'd said over the phone, not quite a question. "It's important for family to be there. You can manage one evening, can't you?" I was still wearing a medical cap to hide the surgical site where they'd removed a section of my skull to access a brain tumor. The incision ran from my temple to behind my ear, 12 inches of sutures and staples. I tired after walking from my bedroom to the kitchen. My vision doubled when I was fatigued. But Mom needed me to manage. "I'll be there," I said quietly. "Wonderful. And Olivia, please. Keep the medical talk minimal. People come to celebrate, not hear about operations." She paused. "Your sister will be there with her fiancé. I'd like photos of the whole family looking happy and healthy." Happy and healthy. I touched the edge of my medical cap and said nothing. My sister Melissa had gotten engaged last month. A proposal at a 5-star restaurant, a ring that cost more than my annual salary as a graphic designer. Mom had called everyone she knew. She'd posted photos on social media with captions about her perfect daughter and dream son-in-law. She'd mentioned my brain surgery exactly once, in passing, to a colleague who asked why I looked tired at Melissa's engagement party. "Oh, Olivia had a minor procedure. She's recovering fine." A minor procedure. The acoustic neuroma they'd removed was the size of a golf ball, pressing against my brainstem, causing progressive hearing loss, facial paralysis, and balance problems that had landed me in the ER twice before diagnosis. The surgery took 11 hours. The neurosurgeon, Dr. Marcus Sterling, had warned me about potential complications: stroke, permanent facial paralysis, cerebrospinal fluid leak, death. But Mom called it minor. The gala was at the Riverside Grand Hotel, all crystal and champagne and physicians in tuxedos congratulating each other. I arrived carefully, still unsteady on my feet, my medical cap replaced with an elegant silk scarf that Mom had sent over with a note. "This will photograph better. Olivia." Mom swept toward me in a champagne-colored gown, her physician leadership medal already pinned to her chest. She looked stunning, successful. Everything she'd worked 30 years to become. "You made it. How are you feeling?" "Tired, but..." "You look wonderful though. Doesn't she look wonderful?" This was directed at her colleagues gathering nearby. "My daughter Olivia. She's been recovering from a little procedure, but she's a trooper." "A little procedure." I smiled and nodded as people murmured polite greetings, their eyes sliding past me toward Melissa, who'd arrived with her fiancé looking like she'd stepped out of a magazine. The evening progressed in familiar patterns. Mom held court near the bar, telling stories about groundbreaking diagnoses and difficult cases. Melissa showed off her ring to everyone within reach. I found a chair near the back and tried to manage the vertigo that came in waves. "Dr. Chin Morrison is remarkable," I heard someone say. "Her diagnostic accuracy rate is nearly perfect. She's transformed the internal medicine department," another voice agreed. "Patients love her. Staff respects her. She deserves this recognition." I wanted to feel proud. She was my mother. She'd worked incredibly hard. But all I could think about was the 3 months of symptoms before my diagnosis. The hearing loss, the facial weakness, the headaches that made me vomit. Mom had seen me during that time. Had told me it was stress. That I needed to exercise more, worry less, stop being so sensitive about every little symptom. When I'd finally collapsed at work and been rushed to the ER when the scans showed the tumor, Mom's first response had been frustration. "Why didn't you mention it was this serious?" she demanded. I had mentioned it. Dozens of times. She just hadn't wanted to listen. "Ladies and gentlemen," the MC announced, "please find your seats. Our awards ceremony will begin shortly." I stayed in my back row chair, grateful to be sitting. Mom had asked me to sit at the family table up front, but I'd claimed I needed to be near the exit in case the crowds became overwhelming. The truth was I couldn't bear sitting there, smiling for photos, pretending everything was perfect while my skull still ached from where they'd cut through bone. The ceremony began with a montage of Mom's career achievements. Impressive numbers. Grateful patient testimonials. Photos of her receiving various awards over the years. The audience applauded enthusiastically. Then came the reception where donors mingled with physicians. I should have left then. But Melissa found me first. Mom wants family photos, she said, linking her arm through mine with practiced ease. Come on, you can sit down afterward. I let her guide me toward the photo area where Mom was surrounded by colleagues. A photographer was setting up lighting and backdrop. This is perfect, Mom was saying to a group of 3 other physicians. My whole family here to celebrate. Your daughters are beautiful, Patricia, one of the women said. And I heard congratulations are in order? Melissa's engaged. Yes. Mom beamed. To a wonderful young man. A corporate attorney. They're planning a spring wedding. And your other daughter? Olivia's doing well. She had a minor medical issue recently but nothing serious. Just a routine procedure. The words landed like ice water. I stood 5 feet away wearing a scarf to hide the surgical site where they'd removed part of my skull, and she was calling it routine. What kind of procedure? One of the physicians asked politely. Oh, just some headache-related thing. Mom waved her hand dismissively. You know how it is with young people these days. They catastrophize every little symptom. The doctors ran some tests, did a minor surgery, and she's fine now. Catastrophize. The tumor had been crushing my brainstem. Another few months and I might have had a stroke. But I'd catastrophized it. She looks a bit pale, another colleague observed, looking at me with concern. She's always been delicate, Mom said, that particular tone that meant the subject was closed. Some people just have lower thresholds. Melissa takes after me, tough as nails. Olivia's more sensitive. I felt my face flush. The room tilted slightly, but I kept my expression neutral. This was Mom's night. I wouldn't make a scene. I'd learned that lesson years ago. The photographer called us over. Mom positioned us carefully, her in the center, Melissa and her fiancé on one side, me on the other. I smiled. The flash went off. Perfect, the photographer said. Now let's get just Dr. Chin Morrison with her daughters. We rearranged. More flashes. More smiles. My head was pounding, but I held steady. Actually, a deep voice said from behind us, I'd like to join this photo. I turned to see Dr. Marcus Sterling, my neurosurgeon, approaching in an elegant tuxedo. He was tall, distinguished, maybe 60, with silver hair and the kind of presence that made people automatically step aside. Mom's smile flickered. Dr. Sterling, I didn't realize you'd be here. Foundation board member, he said smoothly. Congratulations on your award, Dr. Chin Morrison. Well deserved. He moved to stand beside me. And Olivia, how are you feeling? When was your last follow-up? Next week, I said quietly. Good. The post-operative period is critical. He looked at the photographer. Shall we? The photo was taken, awkward tension captured forever. Dr. Sterling didn't leave afterward. Instead, he turned to Mom's colleagues who were watching with curiosity. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation, he said, his tone conversational but with an edge I recognized from my pre-op consultations, the voice he used when delivering serious news. About Olivia's routine procedure. Mom's expression went carefully blank. Yes, she had some minor surgery. Nothing to concern. Minor surgery. Dr. Sterling pulled out his phone. May I show you what minor surgery looks like, colleagues? He turned the screen toward the group. I couldn't see what he was showing them, but I heard the sharp intake of breath from the woman closest to him. This is Olivia's preoperative MRI, Dr. Sterling said, his voice carrying now, drawing attention from nearby tables. The white mass you see here is a 4.2 centimeter acoustic neuroma pressing against the brainstem. It had compressed the 7th and 8th cranial nerves, was causing progressive neurological deficits, and posed significant risk of herniation. The room had gone very quiet. People were turning to watch. The surgery to remove it, Dr. Sterling continued, was a retrosigmoid craniotomy requiring 11 hours in the OR, a team of 6 specialists and post-operative ICU monitoring for potential complications including stroke, hemorrhage and CSF leak. He looked at Mom directly. Would you characterize an 11-hour brain surgery to remove a tumor from the brainstem as routine, Dr. Chin Morrison? Mom's face had drained of color. I didn't mean to minimize. You told your colleagues your daughter catastrophizes symptoms. Dr. Sterling's tone could have cut glass. Let me provide context. Olivia presented to me with progressive hearing loss, facial weakness, severe headaches and balance problems. Her symptoms had been ongoing for 3 months before diagnosis. 3 months during which she was told by her family physician, that it was stress and anxiety. I didn't have all the information. You're her mother. Dr. Sterling turned to address the wider audience, which now included the hospital's chief of staff and several board members. You're also a physician who should recognize red flag symptoms when you see them. Unilateral hearing loss in a young patient is acoustic neuroma until proven otherwise. That's first-year medical school knowledge. The hospital's chief of staff, Dr. Helen Rodriguez, stepped forward. She was a formidable woman in her 50s, known for running a tight ship. Dr. Sterling, are you saying Dr. Chin Morrison failed to provide appropriate care to her own daughter? I'm saying she dismissed clear neurological symptoms for 3 months, delaying diagnosis and allowing a tumor to grow to a size that significantly increased surgical risk. He pulled up another image. Here's what the tumor looked like at surgery. Another few months and we would have been looking at permanent brainstem damage or fatal herniation. Dr. Rodriguez looked at Mom. Patricia, is this accurate? Olivia didn't. She never said it was that serious. I told you I was losing hearing in my left ear, I said quietly, finding my voice. I told you about the facial numbness, the headaches, the vertigo. You said I was stressed about work, that I needed to exercise more. You thought I was being dramatic, I finished. Just like you told your colleagues tonight. You called brain surgery for a life-threatening tumor a minor procedure, and said I catastrophized symptoms. Dr. Sterling held up his phone again. I have Olivia's complete medical records, including notations about delayed diagnosis due to family dismissal of symptoms. I documented everything because I was concerned about a pattern. What pattern? Dr. Rodriguez asked sharply. A mother who is an internal medicine physician failing to recognize serious illness in her own daughter, then minimizing the severity publicly to preserve her own image. Dr. Sterling's expression was granite. At my last hospital we had a similar case. A physician parent who delayed cancer diagnosis for their child because acknowledging the illness would have been inconvenient. The state medical board took it very seriously. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Marcus, surely that's not necessary, Mom started. You stood in front of your colleagues tonight and characterized your daughter's brain surgery as routine, Dr. Sterling said. You dismissed the severity of a tumor that could have killed her. You did this to preserve your image on your award night. What else have you dismissed? What other patients have you treated with the same lack of appropriate concern when their symptoms didn't fit your preferred narrative? Dr. Rodriguez's expression had gone from concerned to alarmed. Dr. Chin Morrison, I think we need to have a conversation. In private. Now. Helen, this is a misunderstanding. Is it? Dr. Rodriguez looked at me. Olivia, did your mother fail to take your symptoms seriously when you first reported them? I could have protected her. Could have smoothed it over, made excuses, saved her career. That's what daughters did, wasn't it? But then I remembered 3 months of dismissed symptoms. The tumor growing larger every day. The 65% chance of facial paralysis Dr. Sterling had warned me about because the tumor had been allowed to grow so large. The fact that I was lucky to be alive because someone had finally taken me seriously. Yes, I said clearly. She dismissed every symptom I reported for 3 months. When I was finally diagnosed, her first response was to ask why I hadn't told her it was serious. But I had. Multiple times. She just didn't want to hear it. Melissa made a small sound of protest. Olivia, don't. Mom's career. Mom's career is not more important than telling the truth, I said. Dr. Rodriguez nodded once, decisively. Dr. Sterling, I'll need copies of those records. Dr. Chin Morrison, you're suspended pending ethics review. Effective immediately. What? No. This is my award night. Mom's voice rose. This is the night we discovered a physician who delayed diagnosis for a family member, nearly resulting in death or permanent disability, then publicly minimized the severity to protect her reputation. Dr. Rodriguez's tone left no room for argument. The medical board will receive a full report Monday morning. The gala ended early for my family. Mom left in tears, her award tarnished before she'd even given her acceptance speech. Melissa went with her, shooting me looks of pure fury. Dad, who'd been silent through the whole thing, squeezed my shoulder once before following them. Dr. Sterling drove me home himself. That was incredibly brave, he said. I just ended my mother's career. You told the truth about a physician who endangered a patient through neglect. The patient happened to be you. He pulled up to my apartment. Olivia, in 30 years of practice, I've seen too many cases like yours. Family members whose medical concerns are dismissed because acknowledging them would be inconvenient. It takes courage to speak up. The medical board's investigation took 6 weeks. They reviewed my case along with 3 years of Mom's patient files. They found a pattern, 12 instances where she dismissed patient symptoms that later proved serious, always in cases where acknowledging the severity would have reflected poorly on her initial assessment. Mom's medical license was suspended for 6 months. She was required to complete ethics training and undergo supervision when she returned to practice. The Physician Leadership Award was quietly rescinded. She blamed me entirely. Sent emails calling me vindictive, ungrateful, cruel. Told family members I'd destroyed her life for attention. Melissa stopped speaking to me altogether. But Dr. Sterling referred me to a patient advocacy organization. I started volunteering, helping people document symptoms that weren't being taken seriously. Helping them find doctors who would listen. My surgical scar is healing. The hair is growing back. My hearing in my left ear is gone permanently, and I have some residual facial weakness, but I'm alive. I'm functional. I'm here. I keep a photo from that gala, the one taken right before Dr. Sterling intervened. Mom looks radiant with her award. Melissa is glowing with her ring. And I'm standing there in my silk scarf, hiding the evidence of brain surgery she'd called routine. That photo reminds me that medical authority doesn't excuse medical neglect. That even physicians can be wrong, dangerously wrong, when their ego is more important than their patient's well-being. The medical board's report is public record. So is Mom's suspension. So is the truth that she delayed diagnosis of a life-threatening tumor because acknowledging it would have disrupted her perfect family image. She may never forgive me for speaking up. But every day I wake up alive is a day I chose truth over her approval. And that choice, Dr. Sterling assures me, was the only medically sound option.